inside of an interactive buzz.
I need you, keeping me on solid ground.
Today's episode is big. I told you, we talked about it, and now live inside of Interactive Buzz, formerly known as Andrina Mill, and now Blk Lotus. Blk Lotus, what's going on?
Oh man, I'm here. I'm chilling. How are you?
So
good to be here.
You know what? It's so amazing to have you, and I have 18 million questions. We'll get to it in a minute, but just so good to see you, and of course doing big things, and a lot of people excited. I put it out across our social media to say, all right, we're talking to the artist formerly known as Andrina Mill, Blk Lotus. What would you want to ask her? So we got hit up. I'm gonna hit you with a couple of those questions as well in a bit. But no, it's good. So what's going on? New things. Where you been at? What's up? It's good.
Oh man, I've been working, laying low, rebuilding. I feel like it's been a 3-4 year evolution, you could say, of just me beyond the music, but just as a person overall. And I think I really wanted to showcase that in the new music. So I took some time off to really figure out, okay, what do you want to do? Who are you really? Because I know, like I've started this game really young. And I feel like when you get to a certain point in age, you're just like, wait a second, I'm not that, 12-year-old girl, 13, inexquisite anymore. Right. Who are you now? And I feel like that's really where I've been, like finding the Blk Lotus. So she's here.
Blk Lotus is in the building. It's going in. Yes. We're going in. And it's funny because you jumped ahead, but I got you. I appreciate you because we're going to talk about that you're no stranger to the game. You've been in the game for decades deep, even though you're as young as you are. You've been in the game for decades because you came into the game at a young age. So Exquisite, you and Nicole, and of course Melanie, Fiona, and big things is going on for y'all from like the late 90s to early 2000s and whatnot, right? So answer this for us. And one of the questions that did come across social media was in a industry where you remember the 90s and how the 90s felt and how the music sounded and the transition and how things have changed throughout. How do you balance it? How do you balance for someone like yourself who has such a powerful voice, right? But then to contemporize it into today's framework of musical styling. How do you do that? What's your take on it?
I don't know. I feel like the music that I loved and enjoyed in the 90s and the 2000s, I find bits and pieces of that in artists today. I don't feel like it's a art form, but it's just, I've noticed a major change between what's mainstream and what's not. What's more of like, the internet artists, that's the SoundCloud vibe, and then we have the top 40. So I think for me it's finding that balance between what do I really love, what's pure to me, and what's pure to my sound. So there's a lot of stuff that's like, I can't listen to that, but then there's a lot that's like, I love this is what I feel, this is what I gravitate to. So it's really just picking and digging through Spotify to find music that I love.
Right. And again, that's the question. What inspires you? We know, again, from the foundation of what the music was in the 80s and the 90s and whatnot, someone who is as vocally as talented and as strong as you are, what inspires you? What moves you? What do you listen to when you go home?
Oh, wow. I listen to a bit of everything. I listen to rock, I listen to hip hop, I listen to trap, R&B, but I feel like the music that I don't perform or the music that I don't sing is the music that tends to inspire me to just, find elements of that sound that might be different. And then that I bring into my music. So I'm listening to everything under the sun at this point, But, just like literally. So now it's just really a point of me just trying to find, things that really make me think, lyrics that move me, and that's what I gravitate towards, and that's what helps me, inspires me to create new music and new sounds.
And it's intriguing from my chair because being as involved with the music industry for as long as I have, I've certainly heard and seen your influence over other artists. I'm not going to drop any names right now, but it's like there's certain songs, there's certain feels, and I'm like, that is so Andrina, that's so Andrina Mills-ish. Like that is so, you know what I mean? And again, even
I find that too. It's mind blowing. It's, to me, I find it too, and I don't realize. And sometimes, like my sisters or my friends will be like, "Did you hear that song? It sounds like da 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 da." And I'm like, but it's a good feeling, because I remember a time where I was writing a certain way and singing a certain way, and I had people who were close to me that would be like, "No, no, no, don't do that. Sound more like this person." And I'm like, "But that person's this person." Like, and then, you know, it's kind of that it's reassurance that you're on the right path and you're doing something that people actually love and enjoy. So I find it interesting. It's cool.
I made a promise and I played my part. I said I loved you, 'cause I did right from the start. Oh, see, we all have changes through the seasons, blood through bones. Oh, but we said a lifetime, so why am I standing here alone? Now heaven only knows the way I feel, 'cause heaven only knows when love is real. You see, if I believe.
You literally were on the forefront, you know, working with now the world's most celebrated Grammy award-winning producers. And you were there
Yes.
for a great part of that, in the development of your sound and the development of their sound and the refinement of the sixth sound, right? Toronto.
Yes.
Talk to us about that transition, looking at it from, you know, Toronto being on the outside looking in, you know, when you first came into the game, and then looking at where Toronto and Toronto artists are now, like running on top of the game.
It's literally, for me, it's like surreal. It is, because I remember being very young and not hearing anybody on the radio that sounded like me, sounded like anybody from Toronto at all. It was just strictly American music. That's all you heard all day, every day. But then I knew about the Julie Blacks and the Melanie Durants and the Socrates and the Cardinal and the Shot Player, and the list goes on, you know. And as I was able to, you know, gratefully be able to be surrounded by these people and mentored by these people, and then have a group of my peers kind of like come through and knock the doors down, like it's surreal to me, you know. But I think it's wonderful, because I'm seeing so many talented artists come out of the city now, and I'm just like, wow, I'm so proud. It makes me proud to be Toronto. You know, I remember being in the United States at 13 years old and working with certain artists, and they would clown me for being from Toronto. They're like, you live in the forest, you guys have beavers and igloos, and I'm just like, no, we don't. You know? But,
no, for sure.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see. Like,
we tell the story about being on tour in the US, and literally someone like telling them, yeah, we're from Toronto, Canada. And they're like, oh man, did y'all guys came from overseas? They're like, overseas?
It's like, it's right there.
Like,
it's right there. You can literally walk across the border.
Right? You can swim across, right?
You get me emotional, homie, since the third grade. You know that I love you, though. I had your back when she said that baby wasn't yours. I had your back when you couldn't find that shit in stores. And maybe you don't realize I be on my business, but you be the only witness. I need you, keeping me on solid ground. The sound gets too loud. We be rolling up that loud. And my sisters, you know they love you, but I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to tell you how. And maybe it's not our time, and maybe things are just fine. They're fine the way that they are. Or maybe I've gone too far. Or maybe you got my heart. Catch me, I'm falling. Catch me, I'm falling down.